I'm slightly concerned. My stream preview is lagging like crazy. Is it me or is it... Wait. That would of course not be great. I don't want the stream to lag. Oh no, it's still lagging. Oh wait, okay, let me open Twitch in my browser. One moment. That would not be great. Oh no, it's definitely stuttering a lot. Okay, what is the reason for that? I don't want stream to stutter, obviously. I honestly have no idea. Why is stream stuttering this bad? Wait, let me check a little more. Maybe I need to tune down my settings a little bit, though I don't know what I could have active that may result in the stuttering. If anyone in chat could just really quickly tell me if stream is stuttering, or if it's really just me, that would be very helpful. Okay, but right now it seems to have calmed down a little bit. Okay, but I'll definitely keep an eye open for that. I am sorry. Let me turn off shaders. I'm blaming it on the shaders. Also, my cursor in-game disappeared. It's because I have Visual Studio Code open. Today was the day where I wanted to make a data pack for this map. And I noticed every time I open Visual Studio Code, my cursor in-game just disappears. Which isn't too bad, but I hope that Visual Studio Code isn't the reason why it is lagging. That would be bad. Wait, let me close it for now. Maybe that could be the reason. I mean, I can't see my cursor now. The stream preview is taking its time. I think I have like 20 seconds delay. Okay, but it is smooth now, so I'm blaming it on VS Code. Oh, that's just great. But we'll try to make the best of it. I mean, coding doesn't need much FPS, let's be honest. Yeah, so I have last time I promised today would be the day where we well, let me actually show it. Today would be the day where we port all of the command blocks that are back here into a data pack, which I'm very excited to do. It would definitely clean up this entire area a lot. So only the command blocks from this red square, not the ones back here. These are slightly different. I need them in-game. But yeah, I just wanted to clean this up a little bit. Also, making data pack helps with performance. If you have a bunch of repeat command blocks that can quickly turn into a lag machine. Yeah, and if there is time after doing all that, I could continue to build the city. As you can see, last time I've not changed anything since then. Literally just left it the way it is. Looked over my data packs again because I might have to note, I have just learned how to do data packs like a few days ago. So I'm myself still very new to this and might do a lot of mistakes. So I took the time in the last 2 days and just wrote down a bunch of notes so that today's stream can go as smoothly as possible. Yeah. Okay, and one more thing that I announced last stream at the end. I was thinking about my stream schedule and how right now I'm only streaming Minecraft, but I do want to branch out into a little bit more variety content. And I currently don't have another specific day in mind on which I would like to stream. So I think for now I'm just going to do like a wildcard stream. So basically there is a random chance that at any point in the week, at any day, I might just randomly go live and stream something that is not Minecraft. Very important. Because I do want to keep the 3 days that we currently have, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, as Minecraft days. But I also want to branch out a little bit more. And I think just adding a new stream day, I might try to go for Wednesday. This is probably the best day for me, or Sunday. That would also be great. Probably not Tuesday. I just don't have time on that day usually. But yeah, again, don't expect anything. This is, as I said, a wildcard stream. On most weeks there will probably not be an additional one. I'm just saying it. There is now a reality in which this might occur, where I put an additional stream in the week, simply so I can play some other games, maybe get some highlights going, and actually bring the highlights channel to life. Because right now it's just kind of sitting there, doing nothing. I do have some highlights that I could upload, just need to edit them. But it's not been on my priority list for now, and I think if I actually play some games, I could do some cut gameplay footage of whatever. Yeah. Okay, so should we start? I think I've talked enough, even with shaders off now. Right, let me change this up again. Okay, so let's find a nice view, because today we are going to do a lot of things outside of Minecraft. And I think maybe just a view of the city would be great for now, because it's what we are building currently. Yeah, maybe like this. Okay, so, oh well, never mind. We need to go over to the command blocks, because that's what I'm going to port over, right? I'm really dreading this one, which is the cinematic view. I want to optimize this a lot better, but also because currently it uses physical block placement in order to determine where the next camera should go. That also means that if I want to do it in a non-physical way, I would need to use the random command, which in itself is not a problem, but I believe it's kind of hard to stop duplicate numbers with that. So I might just have to leave it physical or partially physical for now. But I do still want to optimize this a little bit more. So first of all, let's stay in Minecraft. Let me talk a little bit about why you would use a data pack in the first place. So data packs are very useful on one side for things that you cannot do inside of Minecraft. So everything that you would need to write in JSON for, which would be custom recipes, enchantments, or advancements, or whatever. Everything that you cannot do with simple command blocks. Now, we don't currently have any of those in this map. This will change in the future, but for now we don't. But that would be one very important use for data packs, just things that you cannot do with command blocks. The next thing, as I previously mentioned, is optimization. So every time you place a repeat command block, that one will do something every tick, which is 20 times per second. And using data packs, you can still have repeating commands, but you can limit the amount of times in which it triggers. You can go from a few ticks to multiple seconds, if even minutes. So that's really up to you. And that's just one very nice way to make your map more performant, if there is any problems with that. Now, usually comment blocks don't take as much resources so that you would actually need to do that, but it's still nice to optimize your stuff so that it could potentially run on lower end systems. Yeah, it's just nice to always have the most performant version of what you're trying to do, for the simple reason of accessibility, or just to keep it organized as well. So right now, with this setup, I have done my best to optimize it as much, or to organize it as much as possible, but it is still very hard to look at sometimes. And I think with some proper folder and file management, this could look a lot better. So yeah, to recap, you would use a data pack in order to either optimize your map in terms of performance, or to write things that you cannot usually do with comment blocks. So, building a data pack is stupidly easy. So I was scared of doing this for a long time because I simply had no idea how to do it. Now I do know it, and I kind of regret not learning data packs earlier, because it really, really is extremely easy. And in order to demonstrate that, I want to show it to you on screen. Okay, hopefully this works. Let me check my stream preview first. Oh yeah, I forgot a 20-second delay. So right now, you are you? Oh, sorry for this. I just want to make sure that it works. Okay. You can right now see my file explorer. This is currently the folder of this map that I have open. I have cut a few things from the sides just so I don't dox myself accidentally. It's possible. So I just want to make sure. But ignoring that, if you want to go to your world folder in Minecraft, you would go into your search bar at the top and write in %appdata%. This is how you get to your .minecraft folder. In that folder, you can navigate to saves and then to the map that you are trying to write a data pack for. Now, it's important to note, data packs only apply to one world at a time. You can copy and paste data packs over, but it will always only apply to the world in which it is in. So right now I am in the world folder of the Minecraft world that we are currently sitting in. And if you want to create a data pack, you might have already spotted a data packs folder in this world. If you don't see this, you should see it. But if you don't see it, you can just right click and add a folder that is named exactly this, data packs. And inside of this folder, we want to do a few things. So let me take out my notes so I don't make any stupid mistakes for now. Okay, right. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to create a new folder in here. Oh no, you know what? Let's do it a little bit differently. Let me open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so now you should see my Visual Studio Code here on the side. Usually it would ask you up here to select a folder. So you would want to navigate to this data packs folder that you are seeing right here. You would click on that, open folder in here, and you should see this window. So very empty, not much. Next thing you would probably want to do is install some extensions, which sounds scary, I know, but trust me, you can do it without opening your browser, simply by going to the extensions folder down here. And what this does is it is basically a search engine for Visual Studio Code extensions. and you can just search them right in here, and it will give you a list of all the extensions that have that name. So I have data pack helper, I spyglass, JSON, and MC function. Make sure for MC function that it is the one with the 2 down here. The first one I think is discontinued, so keep that in mind. These 3 are not essential. You don't need to install them, but it is definitely suggested, just so your code is easier to look at. So next up, you are in this data packs folder right here, and there is nothing. So what you want to do is click on this new folder icon and create a new folder. And this one can be called whatever you want. This is the name of your data pack. Very important, not your namespace. It is your name. This is what players will be seeing if they look up your data pack. So name it whatever you want. In my case, I'm going to call it stream stuff because we are going to port a lot of stuff that I need for streaming in here. Yeah, I'm not sure if you actually need to do that, but just to be safe, don't have any spaces in here. Now it only has one F. That is not great. Okay, so in this folder, this is where your data pack is going to be in. So what you want to do next is, what was it? Oh, let me check one moment. That's very, very classical of me to prepare so many things, but forget the most important note. Again, I have just learned how to do data packs, so please excuse me if I make any stupid mistakes. Okay, yeah, right. So in here, you want to create a file. And this one is going to be the most essential file of the data pack. It is called pack.mcmeta. It is very important that you name it exactly this, nothing else, pack.mcmeta. And in here, you will be defining what version your data pack is on. So, or in other terms, in what version of Minecraft you are. So what we want to do is we want to create firstly one of these curly brackets, and we want to write pack, and then what are these called? In Germany, we would call them double points, but that makes no sense in English, I think. Anyways, you want to write these, and now comes the important part, another curly bracket, and pack underscore format. And this is going to be the version which your data pack is in. This varies from version to version of Minecraft. So depending on what version you are using, this number will be different. I am on 1.21.6. So my pack format version is 80. If you want to know what version you are on, you would need to look that up. There is a very helpful website that lists all of the data pack versions. Just consult to that one. After that, you want to add a comma, a space, and you want to write a description. And this is, why is it showing red for me? Probably because there's one. I keep forgetting the names of these signs. I'm very professional, I know. Okay, and this is, as this title already suggests, your data pack description. This can be whatever you want, but make sure that you put it in these, what are they called? I am so stupid. Let me Google this real quick. I should have this in mind, but I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks for telling me the German name. Quotation marks, right. How could I forget that? I am so sorry. That also took way too long. So yeah, you want to make sure that your pack description is in quotation marks because there are most likely going to be spaces in here. And if you don't have your spaces in quotation marks, the program will be confused. So this is just going to be my my stuff for streaming. So let's keep it short. Streaming functions for Twitch, because that is what we are using this for, or what I am using this for. And this is actually everything you need in here. Now what are these called? Let me just check this up while we're still at the beginning of this. Oh yeah, it's colon, right? Colon? I don't know. Something like that. Okay, right. So yeah, you write curly bracket in underscore, not underscores. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. In quotation marks, peg, colon, curly brackets open, and then in quotation marks, peg in format, or peg format. Then your data pack version that you're on and your description. You can just copy this over if you want, if you're on the same version as I am. But yeah, that's actually everything that needs to be written here. And that is, yeah, that's basically it. Next thing is in your folder that we are already in, you want to create a new folder, and that is actually not where it is supposed to be. It's supposed to be. Oh, I made so many mistakes. Okay, your pack.mcmeta is supposed to be in your data pack folder. So whatever name data pack has, in this folder you put your pack.mcmeta file, and now in the same data pack name folder you create another folder, which is going to be data. And yeah, right. And this is where we actually get to start to write. Yeah, sorry that this is a little bit janky right now. Translating all the names of different symbols and stuff is kind of confusing me. And again, I'm also new to that data pack, so I make a lot of mistakes still. But in this data folder, what you want to create is 2 more folders. Firstly, is a folder simply called Minecraft. Make sure to spell it right. And the next one is going to be your namespace. Not in the Minecraft folder, but also in the data folder. Make sure they are both in the same folder. And this is your namespace. It is what you will be referencing throughout this entire data pack. So keep it short, keep it simple and easy to write. Make sure there are no spaces, and also I think no capital letters in here. And yeah, make sure it's easy to write, because you will need to write this name a lot. For me, it's just going to be stream. Because again, this is a data pack for the stream stuff that we have in this world. Yeah. Okay, now we want to go on by going into the Minecraft folder, and in here you want to create another folder called tags. So once again, let me explain why we have 2 different folders, one for Minecraft and one for your namespace. So the Minecraft folder is very important if you try to modify vanilla things. So if you try to give a block, or let a grass block drop a diamond, or if you want to have creepers drop bows when they die, something like this. If you try to modify things that are already predefined in the game, these are things that you write in your Minecraft folder, and everything else that is external, new stuff that is not in the vanilla game, you write into your namespace folder. Keep that in mind. Okay, so in this tags folder, which is well, it's tags. I don't actually know why it's called tags, but in here we want to create one more folder. I know a lot of folders, but it's necessary, so this pack works. And this one is going to be called functions, or only function, not with an S, just function. And this is where we will be writing a lot of the things in, at least for Minecraft. So first of all, you want to create 2 files in here. Let's start with one. And this is going to be inside your functions folder, please. Yeah, right. And this is going to be, let's start with load dot JSON. So here's the first time we are going to be, no, the second time we are going to be using JSON. And this is actually very simple. What you are doing right here is you are defining a path that the game takes once your data pack is loaded. So this just references your data pack. So you want to create curly brackets. In here you write values, then square brackets. So if you have all the extensions installed, it should autofill a lot of these things for you, which is why I don't name them. If you don't have these installed, then just pay extra attention to make sure that you write your commas and colons, and make sure you press damn, I cannot talk today. You place the correct brackets, and in here you want to do some more quotation marks, and you are going to be writing your namespace, which in this case for me is stream, then colon, and load. And load in this case references the load.json that we are writing right now. Don't worry, it's going to be yellow underlined for now. This will change later. Just save that. Make sure to Control S every time you write anything. And you want to create another file in here, which is going to be tick.json. And this will be the exact same. So you write again curly brackets, in quotation marks values, square brackets, and in here you will be writing your namespace. So for me, stream, make sure not to make to do any spelling errors, because that would mean that your entire data pack doesn't work. And then now instead of load, we write tick, and that is literally it. You can now minimize this Minecraft folder and go into your actual data pack, which is where the fun things start. If I could actually talk, of course. In here, you want to create a new folder called function. So same as in the Minecraft folder, we also have a function folder in here. And in this, we are going to be doing the same thing that we have already been doing, but this time it's not going to be in JSON, but actually an MC function. So we will be adding a file called load.mcfunction and another file called tick.mcfunction. So save that, and if we go back to our JSON folders, you should, after applying a small update, you should see the yellow underline disappearing. If that happens, if the yellow underline is gone, that means that the data pack has successfully recognized these 2 files. If that has happened, you are doing it correct. So now you want to go into your load.mcfunction folder. This file will trigger one single time the moment the data pack is loaded. So in here, you want to write things that are only going to be triggered one single time. In my case, it's going to be, I have pressed on insert, tail raw, add p, and then in quotation marks, reload. Successful. You don't need to write this. I do it just for testing purpose. And now we can actually go into Minecraft. Let me make this a little bit more pleasing to look at. we can actually go into Minecraft and write a command called /reload. And if you've done everything correct, you should see this. My mouse is not here, but you can see kind of where it is. You should see a text message that is saying reload successful. If you remember, we just wrote this, which is a normal Minecraft command that is sending this exact message. So if this happens for you, you have done everything correct and we can go on. So now it's very important to note that every time you changed something in your data pack, you want to do /reload inside of Minecraft. So now just to test things a little bit further, I am going to go into my tick function and I want to, what are we going to do? Execute as at p run set block stone. So this should in theory place a stone block under the player's feet. And I've not saved. Execute. Okay, this is not working. What am I doing wrong? Maybe it is because I'm stupid. Let's try something more simple. Say hi. Okay, you can see the server spamming, so it is in fact working. I wrote my command wrong. That happens sometimes. But yeah, this tick.mc function will run every single tick, so 20 times per second. And this is, you write things in here if you want those things to happen very often. So things like checking, for example, if the player has an item in their inventory, or whatever you need it for. So at this point, your data pack is basically complete and ready to be used for whatever you want. But how do you actually use a data pack now that you have all these folders in here? What you want to do is, if you want to stick with comment blocks like I do right now, you would want to maybe minimize your Minecraft folder because you're not going to need this. And in this functions folder, you can actually place, well, you can actually place more folders. Yes, that would work. But for this case, let's write a file. And I'm just going to call this test.mc function. It's very important that you keep defining the MC function so that the game actually knows that you're trying to write a function with command block language. And in here, I just want to have a simple command that tells the player that the function was successful. And so now what you have done is you have created a custom command. You can now write into your chat /function, and you should see the stream test right here. And if I type it in, you see function successful. So I have basically created my own. That was not my intention. What did I do? Oh no. Stop that. Oh, what is this? Stop it. I am very confused. Close all. Okay, good. Yeah. Now it is very important to note you can write as many commands in here as you want. Every time you press enter and go to a new line, this will be a new command. You do not need to write a slash. In fact, it will probably break stuff, so don't do it. And the order in which these commands are run is from top to bottom. So if I now reload, it should say function as the player. And after that, the server should say 1, 2, and 3 in that order. So let's reload and then test the function. And it was the other way around, it said function as the server and then 123 as me. That's just my bad because I don't know how comments work. But yes, this is what you are going to be using data packs for mostly. Unless you're doing custom stuff, but this is a little bit more complicated. Now, if you want to do more custom stuff, there is a website. If you just type in your browser Minecraft data packs, and it should link you to a site that lists all of the different things that you can do with data packs. So in there should be loot tables, enchantments, advancements, whatever. Those are the three that I use the most, so those have been on my mind. But yeah, if you want to do something specific, just look at that website. I will, for the video of this, I will probably show it on screen right now. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and create our data pack, shall we? Or at least start everything over. So I think I want to start with, do we do the AFK timer first? I think cinematic is a little bit too intimidating for me right now. So let's start with this. And it is actually very simple. I would want to create a new folder. Let's open Visual Studio Code again. And in your function folder, you can actually create new folders. That is not a problem. If it helps you organize your stuff, do that. I am doing it. So in here, what are we calling this folder? So it is for the AFK timer. This will probably have multiple functions. So let's just call it AFK underscore timer. Make sure everything you write in terms of pack names, file names, and folder names is easy to write. Just to make it easier later. And in here, I want to create the first function, which will be, yeah, let's call it setup. Setup.mc function. And now again, we have created a new folder in the functions folder. So just to make sure, let's reload and check. You should see it right here. Stream colon AFK timer / setup. This is the function that we just created. And so let's keep it simple. I will now go ahead and just simply copy and paste all of the comments in here over. If it helps you, you can, let me widen my, I'm misclicking. Let me widen my Visual Studio Code a little bit. If it helps you, you can, it disappeared again. You can go over to view up here and tap word wrap, and it will actually make it so that each line fits in your view. As you can see, it skips a number in here, so this is still just line number 2, but it's just a visual thing for you. Yeah, so let's keep going. Now you've seen there is a conditional command in here. It's kind of annoying to not be able to see my cursor. Conditional commands are very possible in data packs. I will get to that soon, but I need to kind of think a little bit. First of all, you can see that that my AFK scoreboard right here has a yellow underline. That is simply because I have not defined the scoreboard inside the game or inside the data pack itself. The way you want to do that is just go into your load.mc function and type in or define the scoreboard in here. So what I would do is I would type scoreboard objectives add. Now we have AFK and it is a dummy. So I will save that, and now you should see all of the yellow underlines not disappear. Why is that? Oh, because AFK is capitalized. That makes sense. So let's check that again. And yes, all the yellow underlines are gone. Perfect. So I will keep to just copying the commands over and we can deal with the actual specifics later. Okay, so we have 9 commands in here. Let's look at what they are actually doing. So first of all, we have scoreboard player add time AFK1. This is probably going to be every tick the way it is set up in game right now. Yeah, we have this runs every tick, which means I'm probably going to reset it after 1 second, right? Which should be 20 ticks. No, 60. Why is it 60? What am I trying to do after 3 seconds? Oh yeah, no, this checks if the player has moved, right? Wait, is it just me or is AFK not a dummy scoreboard? Let's check that real quick. Okay, cool, it doesn't tell me. But I am pretty sure that the AFK scoreboard was actually... Yes, it is a scoreboard that measures how far I have been flying. So let's go into the load function and actually rewrite that. FK should be Minecraft dot... Oh, come on. Yeah, this is kind of annoying sometimes. Okay, let's just scroll through these real quick. Minecraft, was it custom? It might be custom. It's definitely not killed. Let's try custom. And also I would probably recommend putting these into no, I do not recommend putting them into quotation marks. But why is it still... Ah, yeah, right, okay. Oh, come on. Okay, distance doesn't work, but centimeter... Yeah, fly 1 centimeter. This is it. Okay, I'm kind of struggling with scoreboard objectives. But this should be the correct one. So after saving this, now... Well, I don't need to reset it, but it will probably work. Let's just reload, just for safety. Scoreboard still works fine. Okay, so this should trigger every tick. Now, this is where optimization comes in, because with this entire function being triggered every tick, that is 9 commands that run 20 times per second. You can probably imagine that is kind of unnecessary, right? This is going to be updated once every second, which is what the time scoreboard actually is for. So there is no need to have this one run every tick. So let's add another line that says schedule. This is a very, very fun comment that you can actually type into Minecraft, but it doesn't do anything in Minecraft. This is more for data packs. And what it does is it can run a function after a specific amount of time. Now, I will schedule the function that we are currently in, and it will run every time. And with the schedule comment being in the function that it is scheduling, this is going to be an infinite loop. So this will now trigger once every second once it actually starts. So let's go into the into the load function and write another comment in here, and this is going to be function and then this one, and that is literally it. Now if we save this and go into the game, pay attention to the, well, I cannot really, oh, pay attention to this time right here. This is kind of annoying not to be able to see my mouse. Oh wait, you can't actually see because I have this one active. Okay, well, pay attention to the third row on the right side. This is time, and it should now go up once every second. And it does. You can see this works perfectly. It goes up every second. Now the next question is, why does AFK time go up every second? Because as far as I remember, this comment block is on needs redstone, so it shouldn't actually work. It is because of this one. Let's actually deactivate all of the command blocks for now. Because they will all be rewritten, and for testing purpose, it is probably easier not to have things be weird because of this. Okay, you can now see time moves up every second, which is exactly what we want. And no, this was previously once every tick. So I would guess once it hits 20 seconds, which is the second to last, will go up one. It will not, because I've actually not written this in the in here. So let's deal with that. So if score time AFK matches 60, run scoreboard player set time AFK 0. So let's turn that down to 3, because 3 seconds is 6 ticks. So yeah, it is now going to be every 3 seconds instead of every 60 ticks, which is the same in terms of time. But we don't actually need to have the number this high now. And if the score is 3 or higher, run scoreboard player set time 0. Okay, every 3 seconds it will return back to 3. Let's do a quick reload. I've not saved. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and it's instantly back to 0. So it goes 1, 2, 0. Still 3 digits, so who cares? It doesn't actually show the 3, but that's not a problem at all. Now the third comment in here is conditional. Let's check what it does. Scoreboard player's operation last AFK equals at player AFK. So this doesn't actually need to be conditional. That doesn't matter at all, I think. Let's check. Okay, wait, let's invalidate all of these. How do I actually do that? Wait, I think it is possible to somehow write in multiple lines at once. I have no idea how though. Let's just add an AN at the end of all of these. I know this is a very, very lazy excuse for this, but well. Okay, so scoreboard player's operation last AFK at P AFK. Reload. So this should put last onto the number that the player is every 3 seconds. Now for some reason time doesn't. Oh wait, is it because it stops the entire function if something is... Oh well, it might. Okay, so let's do Control X in order to cut it out. It is now in my clipboard. Don't worry, I've not deleted it. Okay, now this goes every second in terms of every 3 seconds. which is a little bit too quickly for me. So let's do the next few ones. Do they trigger even if the previous one didn't succeed? Execute if score last AFK equals at player AFK run tag at P at AFK. What this does is if last and the player has the same value, it applies a tag to the player that makes the player be noted as AFK. Yeah, this is only supposed to be every 3 seconds. So let's let's extend this comment a little bit. Execute if score time AFK matches matches 0. Yeah, because 0 is technically 3 in this one. You could also just say 2. Doesn't matter, honestly. Not 3, because the scoreboard will never actually be on 3. Or will it? No, it never will be. Because if it is 3, it will get instantly set back to 0, and only after that will the next comment trigger, which means that it would not actually recognize the number as being 3. So let's keep it on 0, that works. Execute of score, time needs to be written, it needs to be capitalized. AFK matches 0. Run, return, run. Scoreboard. Okay, so what now happens is if the player score is 0, let's rewrite that and use unless. If the player score is, or if the time score is not 0, this is not actually what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, let's do it a little bit differently and just say return fail. Oh, you don't actually know what return does. Let me explain. So what return does is it is basically an if-else statement for data packs. It doesn't do anything in commands, even though you can write it in Minecraft. Yeah, you can see I can write it in Minecraft. It doesn't do anything in Minecraft. It's completely useless in-game. But in a data pack, it will check, is the previous function or is the previous command true? If yes, then it will stop the function at that point. So as long as time AFK is not 0, it will stop the function at this point. This is basically a conditional command block with extra steps. But it is what we are trying to do right here. So let's just check this. That was not checking it. I like to use say hi as a way to test things. It is a very quick command. And now, as you can see, it writes hi every 3 seconds. So that is perfect. Exactly what we want. So scoreboard player's operation last AFK equals at player AFK. So let's check that. Every 3 seconds, last should be set to exactly what the player is. And the player gets set back. That's right. 944. Last is now 944. As they said, it should go to 0. Last is now 0. Perfect. Okay. So this works, execute if score last and player is equal. Let's check that. Tag at the list. I should now have the tag AFK. And I have AFK and player 1. If I now move, I should not have it. Or sometimes I should not have it. It doesn't work. Why is it not working? Execute unless score last AFK equals at player AFK. This is because it only checks every second. So I would probably take this out and write it at the very top so it doesn't go after the check. So it actually runs every second. And for some reason, I have not reloaded. That makes a lot of sense. I need to actually reload stuff. And okay, I also need to get used to changing my Twitch scenes so you can actually see the gameplay. I'm still learning. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's check. I do not have the tag AFK. So let's stand still. And I have the tag AFK. Works perfectly. I move. I don't have the tag anymore. It only activates once every second, so it has a slight delay. But that's to be expected. It is still just for stream stuff and it is to save resources. So I can live with that. So next up would be executive score. No, this is at AFK. Right. Scoreboard player set AFK0, set at player AFK 0 and seconds and minutes 0. Now what are seconds and minutes for? We have not actually used them yet, but I do believe they are in a different, yeah, here. If time matches 20 at seconds 1. We don't need that anymore because time is now seconds. So these two will probably get changed. Let's make them not comments for now. Scoreboard player set AFK time AFK 0. What is AFK time for? AFK time should probably measure if the player is AFK, right? But that is, I think, also written in a different function. So this is probably the time where we will need to change functions. Right here we have execute if at player tag AFK. Okay, let's copy that, and this one can actually just go in here. Execute if the player has the tag AFK, it will add 1 to the AFK timer every second now. Let's check that after changing my OBS. Okay. So if the player is AFK, if I have the AFK tag, nothing happens because I didn't reload. But even after that, still nothing happens. Let's check. I do have the AFK tag. So why is this thing not counting up? Well, that's simple because this one puts it back to 0. Yes, no, I remember why I did this. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay, this is getting a little bit complicated. Yeah, we will probably not be building today. Today is a coding stream. Should I change the category from Minecraft to software development? No. I think I'm not going to do that. So the reason why we had these scoreboards right here is it checks if the player is AFK. Okay, we have a slight problem right here. I need to kind of edit a list. So how is it supposed to go? The player can move. every 3 seconds, a score will check if the player is at the same spot, or if the player has moved or not. Every 3 seconds. 3 seconds just to give the player some time to maybe stand still a little bit before the AFK timer actually starts to count up. So execute unless score. Okay, this removes the AFK tag from the player if the player has moved, which is supposed to be happening. But the problem is, if that happens, different things should happen. But I can just extend these comments a little bit. Let's do that. If the player does not have AFK, then all of these should be set. Well, okay. Now, look, that is funny. Because instead I could actually write, to kind of simple this down, I could just write return fail. And if the player does not have the tag, then it stops. But I wanted to stop if the player has AFK. So if the player has the tag AFK, I can actually compromise this down a little bit more. By, instead of saying fail, I do run. And I cut this one out and put it in here. So, just to recap, if the player has the tag AFK, the function will stop, but I can actually also remove this entire execute field. So if the player has the tag AFK, the function will stop, but it will run one last command, and that command is scoreboard players at AFK time AFK1. Yeah, so as long as the player has this tag, it will keep adding to the AFK time score every second. Now, if the player does not have this tag, the function will just go on as usual, and it will actually change everything back to 0, because apparently the player is not AFK anymore. This should probably fix everything. Okay, so I am AFK. As you can see, AFK time counts up every 3 seconds. Should do that more often though. Now comes the question, do we need a 1 second, a 3 second delay every time? Okay, I have an idea. Let's take this, cut it out, go to the very top, paste it back in, and I want to create a new file. And I'm just going to call the setup2.mc function, because it is basically just a continuation of what we already have. And I want this to run the function every second if the player is AFK. So let's reference that. Let's cut this out and put it in here, as well as all of these. No, not that. Not these. That's wrong. So if the player is AFK, it will at this point stop. Which means if the player does not have the tag, that all of this will simply go on. Which means everything can be set back. Let's actually write this at the bottom, just for organization purpose. I might be writing a lot of shit right now. I'm kind of confusing myself with this code, but that's on me for writing such a weird comment block setup. Okay, so if the player has the AFK tag, which gets checked every second, a function will play that counts the AFK timer up. If the player has moved, AFK gets removed. Time counts up every second. So this should probably be at the top. Now, okay, this removes the AFK tag. Execute of score AFK matches 3. Okay, this should also go to the very top. Now execute unless score time AFK matches 1, run return fail. Okay, this is where the function should stop. So only every 3 seconds the next few things will be applied. Score players operation last AFK equals a player AFK. This is correct. Execute of score last AFK equals a player AFK run tag at player at AFK. So if the player is AFK after 3 seconds, it will apply a tag. Let's take out these and put them right in here. So I believe this should work now. Let's check. So AFK time counts up. If I move, it should go back to 0. AFK time count, however, counts up. And last doesn't really update. Why is that? Oh wait, no, I get it. Oh, this is very stupid. Why am I making this so hard for myself? I am seeing a bunch of words and my mind is just kind of blanking out right now. I have written a horrible piece of code right here. Absolutely horrible. Yeah, so the reason why it doesn't work right now is because every second it checks if I have the AFK tag. And if yes, then it stops the function. But the one removing the AFK tag is below that, which means that it can never be removed, which is very intelligent of me. Let's put it to the top and reload. And now last should actually update every second. No, it doesn't. Okay, look, I think I need to change some things up. Let's start again. I've wasted enough time. This has been a horrible experience so far. I am very professional. I know. Okay, let's separate these a little bit just so it's. I didn't want to delete it. I wanted to separate it. Just so it's easier to look at for now. Okay, so we start the function and it will run every second. Every second the time counts up. If the time equals 3, then that is when it gets set back to 0. So every 3 seconds something should be checked. Now that means that the rest of this entire function should only be checked every 3 seconds, which means I need to go and check where's the command that actually sets everything back. Oh no, this is the one. Okay, every 3 seconds, what is supposed to happen? This one is supposed to be the next one, technically. So unless the score is 0, this function should stop. Is that right? Yes, it is. Okay. So only after 3 seconds will this function be able to actually go through. So after 3 seconds, what is supposed to happen? The game is supposed to check if the player... Why is this up here? Execute if player's operation last... Okay, this is the next one. Let's make a bigger hole right here so it's easier. Okay, so now the game checks or puts last onto the same score that the player is on. Now, what gets checked? If the score last is the same. Oh no, this is where we get into this multi-layered thing, right? This is where the problems start. Let's check how it looks in Minecraft. Because I forgot. So firstly, we add to the time. If the time hits a specific amount, it gets set back to 0. Last equals player. If last is equal to player, it gives the player the tag. Why have I written it this way? So if last and AFK is the same, the player gets a tag called AFK. But the comment block giving the player the tag is run after the scores get set to the same value, which means it will always give the player the tag AFK. What kind of code have I written? What is this? What actually have I written in here? This is the most horrible code I've ever seen. And I have not seen a lot. So it's probably not that impressive, but still. What is actually going on? Okay, so let's not look at these commands, but actually think about this. What is supposed to happen? So next up, what I would like to happen is the game the game is supposed to check just a little bit later if the player has moved. No, wait, let's look at Minecraft again. I'm completely confused right now. Okay, so after 3 seconds, this happens. So I mean, in comment blocks, all of this seems to work. So, okay, if unless score, okay, if the score is not equal, then the tag gets removed. So in what world does that make sense? Okay, no, I believe I know why. It is because this single command is conditional, which means it only gets checked after the previous command was successful, which is this one. So this one can only run every 3 seconds. These two, however, are not conditional, which means they still run every tick, not every 3 seconds. So that would mean that in data pack language, these two should come first. Okay, so let's take out... Wait, these are the ones that give and remove the tag, right? Yes. Okay. These two are right here. So let's actually check these as the very, very first thing. The very first thing this function does is it checks if last is equal or not to the player. And according to that gives the player a tag or not, or removes it. After that, it will start to actually compare the two scores, so that for the next second it is ready. So now, what is supposed to happen next is if the player has the tag AFK, then things should happen. So if the player has AFK, then it will stop the function there, but run this function, which adds 1 to the AFK timer. If the player does not have the tag, that means that this function can just go on and it will reset everything. And if I am not completely horribly stupid right now, this should be it. So I can see how from this alone you can see, or would think that scoreboards, that data packs are incredibly complicated. I promise you, this is just my pure incompetence. Okay, so now I am AFK, which means that nothing happens. No, yes, something does happen, but okay, execute if entity at p tag AFK. Okay. Do I have another return in here? Yes. Execute unless time AFK matches 0. Okay, I get it. So this checks every 3 seconds, but we need to check the function if. Oh no, yeah, no, now I see why I made the stupid mistake previously. What is actually supposed to happen is this can just go. This can just simply go. But what is supposed to happen is we are going to run a function and that is going to be set up to. And the rest will happen every 3 seconds. Which means in here we need to add a new comment which says execute if entity at p tag AFK run return if entity does not have AFK run return fail. Okay, now this should work properly. Okay, so you can see AFK time counts up, but it gets reset every 3 seconds. And I know why that is. It is because nothing in here actually checks if the player has the tag. Okay, so let's do that. Execute if entity at p tag AFK run return fail. So this is just the exact same comment that we have in here, but this time it is actually for a good purpose. So now the AFK timer should just continue to count up. And if I move, it should get set back to 0. Only after 3 seconds. Do we actually need to have this in a 3-second thing? I don't think we need to. I don't think we need the entire time score. This seems very stupid to me. Score by players at time 1. Let's remove that. This just, everything just gets checked every second. Every second the game checks. Is the player moving? Yes, no. Okay. Save that. Reload. AFK time counts up. Now if I move, it gets set back to 0. Last gets set to what I am, which means the AFK timer will now obviously start a lot quicker with no 3-second delay. But remember, this the title bar, action bar that we have only gets activated after 15 seconds of AFKing. So that's actually not a problem. Let me just check if the code is all right the way it is now. So this gets checked if the player has, or this adds 1 if the player is in fact AFK. If I were to put it in here, what would happen? We have a return fail. What if I would just check if the player is AFK? Because we actually have a failsafe right here. I think I can save some files. We don't need a return, I think. So I'm now AFK, which means AFK time will count up. And if I move, it gets set back to 0. Everything works fine. Now AFK time starts to count. Scoreboard players reset time AFK. Just making some space. Okay. Yeah. That was one hell of a thing. But now it works. This is the entire function. It's 11 comments long. In-game, I am too lazy to count. It's 9. So yeah, we have added 2 additional comments. But this is actually for the simple fact to make up that it is now only running once every second. If we remove schedule from this, it is 10. Schedule is what we need in order for this to run in the first place. Yet if we just had conditional comment blocks normally, then I could also probably shave something up off in here and in here as well. Now the thing is, we might have 1 or 2 extra comments, but since they are not all getting run 20 times per second, but only once every second, that means that we are basically saving 19 times the resources. well, let's say 18 because of the one extra comment, but still, it's so much more performant. Now, let's be honest, in-game you will probably not notice anything from that. Because this amount of comment blocks is not enough to lag the game in any way. And it probably doesn't have much effect. But the more I add, the more likely it is that it will cost performance. And just to prevent that, and also to make copy and pasting this into different worlds in the future easier, I just want to have the data pack be set up. Because right now what I could do is, let me navigate over to my saves folder. Because what I could do right now is I could simply take this folder right here. I could Control C it, and I could now copy it in whatever world I want, and it would work perfectly with no problem. It would simply all appear in one place at that moment. Which is actually the goal of this. On one side to make it more performant, and on the other side to make it shareable easily, without having to rely on blueprints from Axiom. As you can see here, my timer setup. I actually have a blueprint for this, which I don't even need because I can just write it into a data pack and that would be it. Okay, now let's go on. Oh well, you have not seen my blueprints because MC Stacker, no, because VS Code is on top of it. But you get the point. I have a blueprint with my comment block setup, which is now basically just text that I can copy and paste. So let's make this invisible. And as you can see, we are not quite done. I can I? Now AFK time is once every second, which means I don't really need to convert that to seconds or minutes. As you can see on the right side, I have two scoreboards, one called seconds and one called minutes. Both are on 0. These are actually for the title bar to break them up into single digits to make the AFK timer actually look nice. But I don't think we need seconds because we already have that. But minutes will still be important. Let's get rid of seconds. Scoreboard players reset seconds AFK. And let's move on to the next one. Execute if entity. Okay, execute if the player has the tag AFK. Run scoreboard players at AFK time 1. Oh, we already have that. Okay, that's fine. Oh well, you know, in that case, we actually have the same amount of commands in here. 10. I don't count the schedule function command. Yeah, because this one is still part of the data pack. Completely forgot about that. Okay, so the next thing that happens right here is... Okay, this can just go. I'm not going to remove it for now, just for safety reasons. But what this is, if my AFK time, which in the previous version would tick up every tick, reaches 20, so 1 second, it would add 1 seconds to AFK. Now seconds we have just removed, but it's back. Why is it back? What makes seconds return? Oh wait, no, because I have it in here, right? So just so you see, in here I can actually remove one more line of code, which is this one, because we don't need that. Simple. So now why do we have a yellow underline? Function stream AFK time setup 2. Oh yeah, I removed that one. Don't need it anymore. Oh look, now we are actually saving 2 comments. Or 1. No, 2. We are saving 2 comments. Let's reload. And it should not have any effect. It has an effect. What have I done? Oh yeah, it's because I removed time, right? Because now all of this doesn't even have time anymore. Which means everything gets run every second. Which for some reason means that it doesn't do anything anymore. Why is that? Why is it not working all of a sudden? Oh my god, we will not get done with this single function today. Okay, execute a score last. Okay, this just checks, which is right. This just checks again. It removes the tag if I move. Now this one makes last equal to AFK, which actually does happen. As you can see, if I move, last gets set to whatever I am. Now we have execute if I don't have AFK runs. Robert plays at AFK time 1. Also, where's my... I think this is the wrong way around. Execute if entity does not have AFK. Return fail. This is where it stops. So no, if I have AFK, this should stop. If I don't have AFK, if I have AFK, it will add 1 to the AFK timer, then stop the function. What? Okay, so we went from 11 lines of code down to 8. Disregarding this one, 7. So we made this 10 comment function into 7. Okay, that was just a stupid mistake, but it's fixed now. Yeah, it's just a reminder because of I forgot to change some things after removing the time score. Which also means I can now properly reset seconds. AFK time counts up every second. This works. If I move, it gets instantly set back to 0. How's it so quick? Oh no, it's every I misviewed this. Okay, okay. Yeah, this is now working. Let's finally move on. But we're still in the AFK timer folder, so nothing really changed. What we have now is if we have 60 seconds, then it should count 1 minute. Which means I should probably actually do have another setup MC function file. The next one I will call time conversion. Or just time. For ease of use. And now, instead of just adding 1 to the score, let's actually run this in a function. run function time. Reload. Nothing should have changed. FK time is still counting up. If I move, it gets still set back to 0. Everything works fine. Okay, let's keep going. Oh wait, you've not seen what... Oh yeah, I am not used to this. So what I've basically done is I have created a new file in here called time.mc function, and I put the AFK time score in here. And the comment that would previously count that up now just references that file. Because this is going to get a lot more full now. Because if we reach 60 seconds, which in this case is 60 AFK time, we add 1 minute. And okay, and on top of that, run return okay, if the score equals 60 or more, this function will... No, I need it the other way around. Wait, return run. Okay, so if 60 is reached, but that would stop the function, which is not what I want. Because in this, oh, not spectate, scoreboard players set FK time FK0. This is what is supposed to happen. But now the comment in Minecraft, as you can see here on the left side, the comment block is conditional. So only if... Okay, now I get it. Execute if score AFK time AFK matches 60. Run not schedule scoreboard. So now we have 2 times the same thing. Can I cut this down a little bit? So that it does these 2 things? Yeah, I could add another line of code and just say if the score is not 60, return fail. I mean, okay, this is 2 repeating lines, but it is honestly not that bad. Let's reload. Forward players set AFK time AFK 55. If it hits 60 minutes, should go up by 1. And it does. And let's check that again. It should now go to 2. And it does. Okay, perfect. Done this in, well, in this case now 3 lines. But remember, we shaved 1 up from this one. But the function actually goes on. So what happens right here? We have just a conversion of the time. So if I were to use the time right now, I could do it. I could technically say we have 1 minute and 5 seconds. But the way it would show on your action bar in that case, if you look at my chat real quick, it would show like this. 1 minute and 5 seconds. This looks bad. I would like to have it to have 1 0 before both of them. So it's 0 1 minutes and 0 5 seconds. This is not actually colon, it's just a point, I think. But this is how I would want to have it shown. But in Minecraft, you cannot actually have a scoreboard say 0 5. So the scoreboard cannot actually start with a 0 if the next message is higher. It would just remove the 0. And so for that reason, I need to have a separate scoreboard that says 0. But of course, if I now reach, let's say 10 minutes, and that 0 would of course not be valid anymore, it would need to be a 1. And for that reason, I do some math and I take the seconds and the minutes that I have and I convert them to S1D and S2D. And this one is why not have one for minutes? These are both second, which is right. Seconds in this case is now. Do I not have one for minutes? Is it just one? Oh wait, no. Let's do it a different way. Let's turn this one on. If I find my mouse, please. Where is it? Stop it. Oh, I was on it. Okay, active. Active. I've pressed escape. I've not actually saved it. I need to click on done. My bad. Let's just check real quick. Okay, yeah, it actually does only show minutes in 1 digit, not the second one. Okay, that's good to know, I guess. Okay, but we can actually just go on from this point. Let's remove seconds and time again. Okay. So I can copy this over. Apparently we only have the setup for seconds, not for minutes, so that is fine. Okay, so let me explain what this actually does as I'm building it. So first of all, we have 2 extra scores that both get set to the same as AFK time. So if I'm AFK for 3 seconds, now there are 3 scores that will all say 3 seconds. But that's not actually where this ends, because what happens next is it takes both of these scores, once for S1D, which is seconds, 1 digit. I could have said D1 for digit 1. Let's ignore that, my bad. But what actually what actually happens is it takes that score and it applies some math to it. So this basically what is it? Not subtract, it's divide. Yeah, it divides by 10. So what that basically means is it will take this first digit, which will usually be, I think first digit is thing that's, what is it, when does it get shown? Let's go back a little bit. I'm not sure which one of these is actually, but usually, yeah, it's the one that, the first one that gets shown. So if we have 20 seconds and we divide by 10, that would mean that the score is equal to 2. So 20 seconds equals 2. So we extract the first digit, which is a 2 in this case, and we leave the 0 behind. So it's no longer a 20 seconds, it's just a 2 seconds. And then we do the same thing again, but instead of dividing, we do division with what is left. So this will actually do the same thing. So if we take 23, for example, it will divide by 23 by 10. And you would say, okay, that's 2. But it will actually disregard what the actual amount is, and it will take the number that is left behind. In this case, the 3. Sorry, my English math explanation might not be the best, but well. And so we have this one scoreboard that is the second digit. So from 23, we have this one, which will be equal to 3, which is the second digit, and the upper one, which will be equal to 2, which is the first digit. Now you can see I have another scoreboard here, which is called int. And you might be wondering, what is that? And that is very simple. In Minecraft, you cannot actually do math with full numbers. You can only do math with other scoreboards, which means I need to add a custom scoreboard that has just numbers. And let's go into the load function so I can actually show you how it looks. So what would happen right here is I have this scoreboard. It's called int, and it's a dummy. And in here we have defined a bunch of numbers. Scoreboard player set 10 int 10. So 10 is just equal to 10. So if I go in here and we see 10 int, it will simply divide by 10, because 10 int is equal to 10. This is a kind of a thing that you have to do in Minecraft, because I couldn't just say divide by 10. You can see red underline, it's not recognizing. I need to specify a score or a scoreboard. And yeah, this is just, int is just short for integer. It's the number. And yeah, this is one thing that I've actually done for quite a while now, because Minecraft is just making this kind of hard sometimes for some reason. I don't know why I cannot divide by single numbers. Now if you check, actually, we see S2D is counting up together. Now it gets set back to 0, counts up again, and S1D is on 1. If AFK timer reaches 20, S1D will also go to 2. That works. And S2D counts up at the same time, as you can see. And this will go on and on and on until I move, and then they all get set back to 0. S1 and 2D get set back to 0 automatically, because they are always equal to AFK time, and AFK time is the one that we set back to 0. So let's go on to the action bar now. And this is where I will need to do some extra work. So you can see this comment is very long. Let's word wrap this. This is a very long comment that I have actually handwritten. And what it basically does, it just extracts all the different numbers that we have on the side right here and puts them into an action bar. So let's change all instances of seconds over to AFK time. So over here we should have name minutes. And in here we actually don't need to change it, because it is already set to S2 and 1D, as you can see up here. But there is still a second command, because this is an execute command, and it checks if you have been AFK for long enough, so it doesn't activate while you are just standing for a short amount of time to look at something. This checks, have you been inactive for 15 seconds? But because AFK timer gets set back to 0 after 1 minute, that means that basically for another 15 seconds, the action bar would disappear, because AFK timer is no longer 15 or higher. And so I'd have a second one that just checks if minutes is on 1 or higher. That is it. That is literally all. And if I now do reload, and we just stay still for a moment at once, AFK time hits 15, we should see the action bar appearing. And it is appearing. Let's quickly make it so that you can actually see. Yeah, that's correct. Now, one very simple thing that I don't even need to write something for is the estimation time of how long I will be AFK for. Scoreboard player set estimate. This is on AFK, right? Yes. And this will just update automatically because it's already predefined in the command right here. As you can see, right here it says estimated time, and it is score estimate AFK. So basically the one that I hand write. But now there is a thing. And I want this entire setup to only happen if I actually activate the AFK timer. So one very common problem that we've had in the past is I would go into here, I would tap on this one, I would put it to need redstone, and it would still count, or the AFK timer would still continue to count upwards. The reason is because all of these other commands are still active and are still counting things. And that means that the title bar will never actually disappear because the game never actually recognizes that I am not AFK anymore. And since we've all written this into a very simple function, or in two simple functions that are both dependent on each other. So this one only activates if a requirement is met in the previous one. So all of these now build upon each other. It's basically, if all of this was one very long chain command, I can simply say execute if score, let's say AFK manager matches 1, matches 0, run, return, fail. Let's define the... Wait, do we actually have a manager in this? I wonder. We do have a manager. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, but I know why it is horrible, but that's fine. Let's scoreboard, or let's put it below the integer scoreboard. Scoreboard objectives, add manager dummy. So now it's defined in here, which means the yellow underline should disappear. It does. And now I should be able to turn the entire AFK timer on and off. So now you can see, well, it might update. It does update every second. Executive score AFK manager matches 0, run, return, fail. Now it doesn't equal, or it doesn't match 0 because it doesn't even exist. Scoreboard players at AFK manager 0. Do I need to set it to 1? No, it still keeps going. Why is that? Execute if score AFK manager matches. Huh, why does it keep going? Have I not written a return command? Oh no, I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Reload. Okay, so now the score, yeah, AFK manager is 0, AFK timer stops, AFK manager is 1, AFK timer continues. Perfect. The AFK time should also reset. the action bar updates properly, which means we are done. I know this is a, oh my god, I still have the thing open. My god. Okay, now you can actually see my timer setup in here. It's the bottommost one. I don't see my mouse. I don't know where the X is. Oh, there it is. Okay. Hello, that's my mouse. Um, let's also clear this one. And okay, we have gotten rid of a few of these. I think the in-game functions I still want to leave for now. I want to do those last because we are still at the stream stuff score things. I don't know. Do we do cinematics now? I'm very intimidated by this. Let's open this again. We can close AFK timer now and under functions add a new folder, and I'm going to call this one cinematic. And in here we can have new files. So where do we even start? Because cinematics is basically this entire top part. I know only this one says cinematics. This is just for organization's sake. But this is basically all part of the cinematic function. I basically need all of these. So it's not defined in AFK. So let's turn AFK off. We have cinematic, which is just current cam and last cam. Okay. I can do better. And we have manager, which is very scary to look at. And if I take forward plus set time manager 120, yes, we can see this is 2 minutes and 0 seconds. So manager is basically just the scoreboard for the cinematic. I can change that. That's not ideal. The manager should be as free as possible and only contain the most essential scores. So let's actually have the cinematic. We already have a scoreboard for cinematic. So let's use that. Oh well, I forgot to. I need to keep that in mind. So again, because I just forgot, this right now is the manager scoreboard. You can see it on the right side of the screen. And it is very full with things we don't actually need. Like for example, seconds, minutes, time, timer, estimate. Why is estimate in here? Is estimate not in AFK? Let me check that real quick. I know that you cannot see it right now. No, it's for AFK. Why is there an estimate in here? Well, I guess we're going to be finding this out now. We have be right back and cinematic and underscore, and AFK, which are actually essential. I would like to have those in the manager, but the rest can actually go. So let's just start simple. What does the first common block do? Execute if score cinematic manager matches one, run scoreboard players add timer 1 manager 1. I get it. Okay, we have another instance of a lot of timers that get triggered every single tick. And if this one hits 10 seconds, it gets set back to 0. So yeah, this is switching cams every 10 seconds. I think we should actually start with the cams. So let's go here, cinematic. Oh wait, let me turn this view on for you again. Okay, so let's go in here, go to the cinematic folder, add a file, and I'm going to call this cam, not cams, cams.mc function. And in here, what we are going to be doing is, oh, I don't want all these marker entities in here, because if you didn't know, entities are one of the things that cause the most performance. No, macros are not bad, but they do carry some NBT data, which is actually costing some performance. Now the thing is, the reason why I placed markers is in order to be able to soft code the cams, because we have a random selector that places a redstone block at a random one of these markers. But the markers actually get tags based on which one of these was actually selected before. So that each marker needs to be active at least once before they can be activated again. So if I activate marker 1, that one would stay active until all the other ones have had their turn. This is just to prevent doubles and too many repeating cam views. If I do it with the random command, that would mean that I lose that entire thing, basically. I could not prevent doubles anymore. Well, I could, but it would be kind of janky. Probably what would I do? I could prevent doubles, but I could not prevent, or I could not do a full line of these in a row. So it would be truly random, which means they could switch between two every time, forever, without ever touching the other ones, which right now is impossible. If I use /random, I can prevent doubles by just re-rolling the random if it hits one that was previously. But if I were to try to force all of them to be active ones, that would mean that I would need to have a way to check every single one of these in scores. I could do that in decimal. That would be possible. But it would also be janky. I don't know. Do we say, okay, screw it? It's just going to be completely 100% random, doubles included? Or do I say, we keep it hard-coded because this is exclusive to this map and not supposed to be copyable? Oh, this is actually a hard question. I am not sure. This is why I was intimidated by this setup. Because the way it is right now, it is kind of stupid, let's be honest. But doing it differently would also be stupid. I can only lose in this situation. What do I do? Let me think. Give me the time to think. I know we have already done this for 2 hours and I've not made any progress on building. But that was kind of what I announced. I will only do one coding stream. The next streams will definitely be building again. I will do the data pack off stream. But I wanted to do this today. Do we just say, okay, it's just going to be hard-coded? Or it's just going to be entities instead of scoreboards? Because I feel like doing it... Yeah, I feel like doing it with scoreboards would be even worse. At least this way I can... I mean, it would also stop me from removing all the comment blocks on this map. I would still be forced to have comment blocks on here. Which okay, but look, that's actually not a problem. I said the data pack is to save resources. But these ones are impulse comment blocks, which means they only get triggered one single time the moment redstone is applied. Which means they are probably as efficient as they could possibly be. Yeah, let's keep it physical in that case. But what we can change is, that was the wrong window, is this one. We no longer need to check this every tick. So let's do the same thing that we did with the AFK timer setup. Let me actually just copy this over while we're here. So run cinematic cams 1 second. If cinematic manager matches 0, run return fail, which means I no longer need this one because we already have a filter up here. Every tick or every second, timer 1 will increase by 1. I don't want timer 1 to be in manager, so let's put it on cinematic. Let me actually check what is the scoreboard again. It's just lowercase letters. Very simple. Cinematic. Now remember, if we have a new score in our data pack, we want to define that one in the load function. So let's do that. Scoreboard object is add cinematic dummy. And we should see the yellow underline disappears. Perfect. Okay, we don't. You have not seen what I've done, right? No, I think let's wait for a moment. Okay, no, I think I remember what comment that was. Oh, hey Chili, nice to see you. Welcome back. I as promised last time, doing a coding stream, building the data pack. We have already done the entire AFK timer, and I'm currently working on the cinematic cams that I've set up at the beginning of each stream. And I accidentally broke a comment block, but I think I remember what it was. Execute if score, what was it? Timer 1, right. Timer 1, cinematic, matches 10. Run scoreboard player set, timer 1, cinematic 0. Okay, I was scared for a moment because I accidentally broke a comment block and I didn't know what was in there, but I do remember what it was. Okay, and this next one just makes sure that if I turn off the cinematic view, that it also resets all the time, so I can actually write it at the top of the function before it checks if it's true. Because there are two. So yeah, I cannot really use a return run command in here because we have multiple comments that would need to run, and I cannot really do that with /return. So let's check real quick. If score cinematic manager, this is still on manager. It needs to be on. Oh no, this is actually correct on manager. That's perfect. Matches 0, run scoreboard player set, timer 1, manager 0. Timer 1, however, is on cinematic now. So this just makes sure if I turn the cinematic view off, then the timer gets reset. So the next time I activate it, we have the full 10 seconds of a cam view. Execute add at E type marker tag 1. If score cinematic manager matches 1, run fill air. Okay, this just makes sure that in case I turn the cinematic view off, all the redstone blocks in here that you can see on the left side get set to air. They are currently all air, but as you can see, they get set back to air once I place anything. So that just makes sure that if the cinematic view is off, that all the cams also get put back. And I think marker 1 should actually be, let's check this, should actually be this one. Let's do data get entity at E type marker tag. Let's not use tag. Sort nearest limit 1. Yeah, this one has cinematic and 1, so perfect. This one is 1, it goes 9 blocks to the left. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's go on from here. We have checked these 4 comment blocks right here. Where do we actually go on? Is it the ones to the top? Oh no, this is last cam. We don't actually have that set up right now, so let's go with this one firstly. Execute add at E type marker tag 1 if score timer 1 manager matches 1 run fill air. What is this doing? Do we not have this already? Execute at the marker, that is tag 1, if the score timer 1 matches 1. Which means always. Or every second in our new case now. This will fill all of these blocks, including this one, with air. Is that just so? Oh yeah, no, I know why that is. Okay, let's copy this over. But I do feel like we need a new file for this. Let's check the next few ones. I know you can only see half of the comments, but that's not too much of a problem. I am reading them out loud anyways. Execute as at E tag cinematic tag does not equal last sort random limit 1 run tag at s at cam. So this just makes sure that one random tag that has not been picked before gets added as a cam. Okay, so I would actually probably add a new file for this one. I'm going to call this one add cam.mc function. Let's copy the first one over. Word wrap this again. Let's do the second one, and I think it just goes on like this, right? Execute add at E-type marker tag cam, so the one that was just selected, if score timer 1 manager matches 1, so every second. Run set block at that marker redstone block. Oops, that I forgot to place this. Oh, also one more thing. We are no longer having timer 1 in the manager. It is now in cinematic, so let's change that up. Okay. So just to recap for myself right now. You can actually see, yes, you can see, okay. Add marker 1 sets all to air. Oh, wait, one moment. One thing I realized, we don't actually need this one anymore because this function is no longer conditional. Right? Wait, let me keep this in. I need to check something. So the first one gets run every tick, and the next comments are all conditional, which means only if timer 1 cinematic matches 1 will the rest happen. So why do I write the same thing in here over again? If score timer 1 cinematic matches 1, why do I write this 2 times? All right, thanks for checking by, Chili, and see you later if I'm still alive. Why do I do that? Tell me. I think what the original plan was is that if the first comment block fails, all the other ones should fail as well. So I think it would be good to have a return statement right here. Run return fail. And let's do unless. So if cinematic does not match 1, it will stop. So if it does equal 1, that means that the rest can go on. And that means filling we have a situation right here where that was supposed to be on 2. Okay, execute unless. Okay, this just stops if timer 1 is not on 1. And this execute add at e tag marker, this just sets everything to air. And this one adds the tag cam, and this one then places a redstone block at the marker with cam. Okay, I get it. Let's go on. Right now we have 4 comments in here. Oh, the first one is a new one, so the next is going to be Scoreboard players at last cam cinematic 1. Oh wait, no, yeah, right. This just counts up the cinematic cam score. And if it hits a specific point, it gets set back to 0 and all the tags get removed. I remember. Tag at e tag cam at last. Okay, I get it. And then cam gets removed. Okay, now this all makes sense. We just need to trigger this, which is not currently happening. So usually it would trigger on its own every tick, but we don't actually want this to happen every tick. So do we actually have cams in here? No, we have not. Function cams. And I think I would also want this one to trigger the next one as well. In that case, I could just write it in the same file, right? Or do we have any kind of, no, we have return calls in here. I cannot do that. So let's just also schedule function add cams. 1 second. Okay, okay. Yeah, by the way, if like if the window right here is in any way in a weird spot, please let me know. I can change it. I thought having it on the left, on the right side would be perfect for now, or good enough for now. But I'm not actually sure how the viewing experience is since I'm not really watching. This is my first time working with OBS scenes. So again, it might be a little bit janky sometimes. I also don't have a stream deck, so I cannot easily change things up. So yeah, and every time I want to remove the VS code, I need to go into OBS and manually remove it by clicking on the transition button. I have studio mode enabled, which lets me do this. I can also hard cut it. Yeah, I just made this to make sure that I don't actually accidentally show anything I don't want to show. So I can insert things on the left side, which is the preview scene. And then once I'm happy with how it looks after transforming it and after editing it, I can just click on my cut or transform button and it will insert that window into the actual scene that you end up seeing. Yeah, that is just for my own safety. You know, internet is scary and stuff. And yeah, I'm still learning how to use all of this, so please have some patience and remind me if anything is wrong. Okay, so right now these two are done. So let's go to the top one, these two up here. And the first one, what does it do? Execute as e-type marker tag last. If score last, cam manager matches 10, run tag as remove last. Okay, this just makes sure that if last cam cinematic reaches 10, that all the last tags get removed. Now, okay, I have this hard coded in here, so if I add new cinematic views, I would need to go into the data pack and change this number up, which is not actually a problem, but I feel like I might forget. I'm not sure though. I'll leave it hard coded for now. Okay, so, and this one actually has a follow-up command, and that one scoreboard player set last cam manager 0. Okay, this just makes sure that if this happens, that we can go on. So I cannot actually have this. Oh, sorry. I cannot actually have this in the same function. Or is there a way to do return and then do two scores, two commands? I mean, what I could do is execute run return. So this will, oh no, that's not actually. It executes as a marker. In fact, it executes as all markers, but only probably because it is a... Oh no, I think it applies instantly to all. I am not actually sure. I have an idea. Unless... Let's cut this out. Run, return, fail. Execute as run. Okay. Okay, so what should happen is it checks, is last cam manager equal to 10? If not, then we'll just stop the function at this point. No, unless means if it's not. Yeah, if it's not 10, then this function is true, which means the return stops the rest of the function. And if it's false, so if it is actually 10, return fails, which means the function can go on. Run target as remove last. Okay. We still have some more comment blocks left though. But this one, okay, this one is, I can ignore that for now. That is just checking is the cinematic view on? If yes, turn the daylight cycle on. But at this point I have it on always sun anyways, so it will always look nice. Okay, the next one, this is if it's off, then it turns the daylight cycle off as well. And sets the time to 0, to midnight. And here we have execute of score cinematic manager matches 0. So if I turn the cinematic view off, it sets last cam to 0 and it removes all the last text. I think for this I need a new file. Turn off. No, that's not right. Toggle I just call it that. Doesn't matter if it's correct or not. Okay, so let's copy this one over. Wardrobe again. Copy this one over. And this one can also be called every second. Oh wait, can I not just put it in a different... Oh no, because... Okay, I get it. Any returns in here? Yes. Oh, wait, I could just put it here at the top. Okay, those the three first lines are basically just for turning the cinematic view off. Yes. This one as well. The first four lines are for turning it off. No. No, okay, yeah, no. This is if it is actually on. In that case, this would happen. Weird. So it checks if it's off firstly. And if that fails, it checks if it's on. I think I could cut down the the amount of words if I checked for if it's on firstly. Because that would mean I can remove all of these that are highlighted right now. I mean, people say if it ain't broken, don't fix it, but I kind of feel like fixing it. Yeah, I'm looking at this code and I'm not happy with it. Wait, let me think about it before I mess anything up. So firstly, oh no, let's leave it that way. I'm scared. Okay. So we have this. Now we have this next batch, which is if last cam is 10 run scope plus set last cam 0 cinematic. Don't we actually have that one already? Oh, this sets it back. I'm confused. Oh, we have this already. Execute as at each type marker tag last if score last cam manager matches 10 run tag it as remove last. So it executes as every marker that has the tag last, and if the score last cam is on 10, it will simply remove all the markers that have the last tag. And it will then turn last cam back to 0. This is the exact same, just turned around. But I think I placed it there for a reason, so the first one must not be working in some way. Last cam also should not be in manager. I don't know why it is. Let's just check all the last cams right now. Okay, this one is on cinematic. That's good. Okay, let's check. Last cam should be on here then. Yes. Yeah, you can see this is just the same one again, just turned around. Yeah, it's the exact same. So the first one checks. I think I can get rid of this. This seems correct to me. If last cam cinematic matches 10, unless it matches 10, return fail. If it matches 10, in that case, this will go on, meaning that last gets removed from all of them and last cam gets set back to 0. That should be correct. Which also means that this should work. Let's just save everything. Go back to Minecraft. Let's actually not turn this one off, but these ones. Which is actually annoying if I cannot see my cursor. Yeah, but I kind of have the muscle memory. Oh, let's do /reload. Robot player set cinematic manager 1. Have I written it wrong? No. So what should happen? The load function should run function cinematic cams. Cams runs itself and add cam. And if the score equals 0, which it doesn't, and these should all get skipped, execute if score manager matches 0, return fail, which means if it's 0, this should not happen. It's 1 though. Which means scoreboard add timer 1 cinematic 1. Okay, let's switch over to scoreboard objective set display setbar cinematic. Timer 1 does in fact count up. If cinematic matches 10, run scoreboard set timer 1 cinematic 0. Oh, I have miswrote something. I missed an R. My bad. So let's reload. So after 10 seconds, it should at least be set back to 10, to 0. Happens, perfect. So these two are correct. Now add cams should be what happens next. Execute unless score timer 1 matches 1. Run, return, fail. Okay, only if it matches 1 should the rest of the function play. And okay, let me actually visualize this for you here. And what then happens is all of these blocks at the back here are turned to air, which they already are right now. Let me actually check that. They don't. Does this schedule actually work? It should run this function every second. Oh, but wait, it only works every 10 seconds, right? No, it doesn't even do that. Let's do data get. Cinematic 1 does not have last, so that works. Sort random limit 1. Okay, this doesn't work. Execute unless score timer 1 cinematic matches 1. Does this function get triggered at all? No, it doesn't. Well, that's great news. What's the problem? Add cam MC function. I guess something about this just doesn't work. If I try to do it in a compact way, I guess. I don't know. Let's reload. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, well, it seems to be working now. Let's speed this up again, as we've done previously. Just for testing purpose. Oh yeah, that's my bad. And it seems like I have speeded up a little bit too far. Oh, sorry, hit my microphone. Last cam counts up. If last cam reaches 10, it goes back to 0. Okay, let's note this one. So the underground cave with a tree. And it should not be able to turn up until last cam reaches 10. And it seems like that was successful. Wait, does it turn up at all? Or am I missing something? Okay, yeah, it turns up. Perfect. Okay, now the thing that doesn't work is I have set it back off, but current cam is... Oh no, current cam can be on 6. That's actually nice. If we turn it on again, let's check last cam this time. If I set this to 0, last cam should get set back to 0 as well. And now it's 6. Now it's 0. Perfect. Yeah, sorry, you couldn't see the scoreboards right now, but well, yeah. Take another look. I turn cinematic on. And yeah, I've put it back up to 10 seconds. And it actually changes when we reach 1 instead of... Right, that's actually weird. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I might change that anyways. Matches 0. That might be a little bit more comfortable. Well, as they say, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? I can also remove the say hi in here. We don't need that anymore. Okay, perfect. But wait, why? It's still kind of annoying. If I put this to 0 instead of 1, does that actually have any impact? Let's check for all the ones. Discover players add last cam 1, that is okay. If timer 1 matches 1, run. Okay. If it matches 0, let's do that. So if I'm not mistaken, this should be a little bit more comfortable to look at least when you have the scoreboard open. Yes. Perfect. Let's check it one more time. Perfect. What? One more time. I need to. Last cam is on 5 right now. It should go to 6. Yes. And if I turn cinematic off, that didn't work. Now it goes crazy. Oh yeah, no, I remember why this was on 1 now. Because otherwise it would literally just go wild. Okay. That is perfect. We can leave all of these, though we don't need this one anymore. Which also means if I go back in here, we can remove part of that. Let's turn this off again. So you have not seen this, but I've actually removed the comment block that was right here. Now the only 2 comment blocks that are still valid are these 3. So why does this need redstone? Why? I don't even know. Oh, yeah, doing this is kind of exhausting. But well, this works now. Cinematic view is working, which means we can actually go over to the manager and reset some of the scoreboards. Like for example, timer 1. Yeah, that's it. We can remove timer 1. But at least we can. That is the first cleanup that we had. So let's now deal with stream start, and we're probably not going to be able to finish that because it's only like 12 more minutes of stream time. But don't worry, I'm going to continue this off stream because I believe most of you want to see me build instead of code. So we have stream start timer, which is basically just another instance of my timer setup. So yeah, here we have timer 2 on manager, which checks if stream start is on 1. Now, if for some reason the scoreboard is now on 21 instead of 20, we add 1 to the time. No, remove one from the time, and then we set the score back to 0. Okay, then we can make this more efficient, let's be honest. Wait, well, yeah, right here. Toggle this on again. We are done with cinematic, we are done with AFK timer. It's time to add stream start. It is stream start, isn't it? Stream start timer. Okay, let's not worry about the details. And firstly, what do we need? I would say just, yeah, just one more for the timer, I guess. So let's create a file called timer.mc function. I'm sorry, my Twitch chat is broken. Give me a moment. Okay, repaired. And let's just insert all of these in there. Word wrap again. I cannot press Alt Z because it would toggle my NVIDIA overlay. Okay, and now the important thing is, first of all, I want timer to not be on the manager. And second of all, this runs once per second. So we don't need to have all the tick things in here. Schedule, function, timer, stream start, 1S. Timer 2. We have our own scoreboard for this one already. Let's check. Well, objectives list is kind of ass. Let's sidebar. We do not have a scoreboard for stream start. Anything I can reuse? No, I don't think so. But let's create a new one. Let's go into load, go into function. No, not function. Well, yes, function. This function stream start timer, but also scoreboard objectives at, let's just call it stream so it's easier to write. Dummy. Save this. This doesn't need to be called timer anymore. Timer 2, I mean. It can just be timer. Actually, same goes for the cinematic view. We don't need to call this timer 1 if there's not going to be a timer 2. Let's just make sure I actually removed all of them. There's not much in here. Perfect. Okay. So this can be just a timer. No need for timer 2. There are no 2 timers. If stream start manager stream. No, this can actually be manager, but I do think I want this. Do we keep it as a long word? I guess we do. I do have a macro to turn this on, so that's fine, I guess. Run scoreboard players at timer stream 1. Execute a score timer stream matches. Matches 2, I guess. Wait, how have I set this up in here? Oh wait, it goes till 10, right? But that's not quite the case for this one. Well, we don't actually need to reset it, I believe. Or do we? Because all this does is it removes one. Do we even need a timer? Is the question. This is just more math. Yes. What are we doing if timer 2 minutes? No, let's just get speaking is hard. Just get sets back. More math. Yeah, so apparently we don't need any of this. Oh well, let me actually change this up. And this can also go onto the stream. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of quieting down. I've been talking way more than I'm used to on stream. Oh wait, I'm getting cold. Give me a moment.